One of my favorite movies ever is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and one of my favorite things to do is build Lego. So let's try to build Willy Wonka's factory in Lego. First I began with a nice big base, and a black border like you see on most Star Wars sets. Then I decided it was time to build some walls. So I built 2 red walls with some windows and 2 tunnels for the boat to go through, and then I have the gray wall which is going to be covered up by the chocolate waterfall, because in the movie it's kind of like a cliff and it covers up that entire side, but I started running out of red pieces so I had to use some gray ones. And I'm not doing a 4th wall because it wouldn't look that good and I want it to be like an open model, so it's not going to have like the staircase or the nice big door, which in the movie you can barely even see that wall anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal. But now it's time to start working on the chocolate waterfall. Now while I was working on the chocolate waterfall, I realized that it was actually taking up a lot of room. The second tunnel to the right is actually kind of like diagonal in the movie, and I had it at a complete 90-degree angle, so it was taking up a lot of room on that side, and if I extended the chocolate river it would have taken up most of the actual build. And I even tried to move the tunnel, as you can see right here, and I still felt like it took up too much room, so I decided that the best thing to do would be to just take that tunnel out and take that half of the chocolate river out and just have the main chocolate waterfall. But after I did all that, I actually had to extend the red wall on the right, and I had to add a 3rd window, and I had to extend the cliff. So this is where I had to kind of start straying away from the movie, because the model wasn't technically like as big as the actual chocolate room was, so I kind of had to change a few things, like make some stuff smaller and not add some things, but I'm still taking inspiration from the movie. So after a while I finally finished the rock work, and then I started laying some grass out and trying to get an idea of how I wanted the pathways. Now sadly I had to change the pathways to gray. I did want to make them tan, and they were tan in the movie, but I did not have enough pieces to do it. But the only reason why I kept the border to the chocolate river tan is because it matches the tunnel, but I wanted to make all the pathways tan, I just didn't have enough pieces. But after that I then went to behind the rock work. I actually had to take some of that gray wall down to make it red. I did not have a lot of red pieces, but I made it work. But after I did all of that and I added a top layer on top of all the walls to make it strong, it was time to start adding all the candy. So I started off by adding a bunch of grass. I added some lollipops like there are in the movie. I added this weird like white tree. It was something in the movie. It looked really weird though, but I based it off the movie. I added some big marshmallow mushrooms. I added the edible cups in the back. I added some ice cream stuff and some marshmallows and flowers. Then I added like some big pumpkins and bananas and carrots, and I added some grape bushes. But now that it was all decked out with candy, I needed to add some figures. But first I had to actually create some figures. So I created the 5 kids, the 5 parents, and Willy Wonka, and now it was time to add all the figures to the build. And now that I added all the figures, it was time for the final shots. Alright, well, I think it turned out pretty good. It's definitely not as big as I would have liked it to have been, but I think overall it's pretty good. Anyways, that was Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory in Lego.